Welcome to Career Uprising. I'm your host, Lorraine Rise, a career and executive coach dedicated to helping clients who are 40 plus to break free from feeling stuck and transform into the unstoppable force you're destined to become. Let's start the uprising. Hey everyone, welcome to Career Uprising. I'm Lorraine Rise. This is episode 171. Your age is not the problem. All right, well, take a minute before we get started. Please follow the show on Apple, leave a review. I appreciate it so much. Still going strong, about 7 years into this show now. So welcome, whether you are a veteran Career Uprising listener or brand new. I am so glad that you're here. So spring is here in Virginia. I'm so glad. I'm thawing out from a kind of a brutal winter, more so than normal, that we've had here. So the sun is shining through my window, and I'm really excited to connect with all of you today. I am talking to so many people out there who are really struggling in the job search process a lot. If that's you, you're not alone. It's been tough, and it still is not an ideal market right now. What I want to tackle today, though, is something related to that is on the minds of a lot of people I work with, because my team and I specialize in later career professionals, at least mid-career, if not, 50 plus, something in there. And one of the biggest barriers, or I'm going to say perceived barriers there, is their age. Is my age holding me back in my job search? The answer might surprise you. All right. So I want to get to the root cause of this statement. What causes people to say and believe that? Is it true? Is it not true? And what the hell can we do about it is the bigger question, right? Because we always want to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. So if you have ever thought, I'm too old, I'm too expensive, too many gray hairs, no one's going to want to hire me, this episode is for you. It's my love letter to you. Because believe it or not, your age might not actually be the problem. And in fact, not only that, it may actually have some advantages as well. But there is something else underneath this that actually might be the problem. And that is what I want you to listen to the whole episode. And I'm going to share with you what is behind this age issue that we have, what is really going on, what is really the problem, and what is really the solution. So let's dive in. All right, fun stuff, right? So as always, the foundation for everything, for all the work that I do with my clients, for your job search, your career change, is your mindset. That is usually the heart of what is going on with something, with a transition or a belief that we have, a barrier we are encountering. So when somebody says, I'm too old, no one's going to hire me, nobody wants experienced workers, I'm going to be overqualified, right? The truth is, what we're talking about is a perception, not necessarily a truth. And a perception is a mindset. That's what it is. I know that's hard to hear, but it's true. And there's one coming from you and one coming from them, meaning the hiring manager, right? So you have value to them, or perceived value. And that's what they're going to hire based on how valuable you are perceived to be to them, from just a general standpoint, but truly a financial standpoint as well. You also have your own perceived value of yourself, right? And there's a whole lot of agency that you have in controlling how you are perceived by other people. Not total control. We can't control other people. But as you're going to hear today, there is a mindset shift that needs to happen within you first, and then also with them also. And there's a lot that you can do to influence your perceived value to employers, no matter how old you are. All right. So that's what I'm going to want you to take away by the end of this. So let's talk about this. This is good age discrimination, right? Is it out there? Of course it is. Of course, I'm sure that there are people out there who are maybe less inclined to hire people who are older. But with that, what's really behind that? People don't discriminate just to be jerks, right? Not usually. There's a reason for that. There's a fear. There's a stereotype. There's some reason why they see your age as a liability. That's what you need to focus on. Stop focusing on your age. That isn't the problem. That's more like a symptom or an indicator or kind of a reason that people use, but that's not really what they're getting after. Why would they see age as a problem? Well, cost is one. People make associations that somebody who's older is more experienced and therefore more expensive. And sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. Okay. So the point is get to the reason why your age might be a problem. It's not just about your age itself. Why would that by itself matter? Is what they're making it mean, right? So what they're making it mean is potentially that you're more expensive than they can pay for. It could also mean maybe they think you're going to retire in a couple of years, right? You're just going to coast and check out. I don't know. Maybe they also think that you are not modern or up with technology, something like that, right? So those are the things that you need to combat and get to the heart of. Stop focusing on your age and start focusing on remedying what their perception is of you because of your age and what they're making that mean and overcome those objections. That mindset shift is huge. It's the difference between do you want a Band-Aid approach or do you want to get to the root of the problem? Do you want to focus on the symptom or the actual root cause, right? That is a huge seismic shift that happens. Stop focusing on the age and start focusing on what they're making your age mean and fix those things. Okay, so we're going to unpack this a little bit more. But I want you to recognize that while there might be perceived liabilities to your age, there are also plenty of advantages. For example, older workers tend to have larger networks compared to the younger generation. And I think a lot of connections, and this is just my opinion, that the younger generation makes now are a little bit more superficial, right? You and I come from the era before social media where you made real, genuine relationships with people. Use that to your advantage. You have experience. You've been around the block. You probably have a larger network. You have wisdom that younger people don't have. Leverage these things. I mean, and if you think about it too, we could always complain about something. There's age discrimination on the reverse side. There's millions of people right now, young early career professionals, who are screaming the exact opposite. No one will give me a chance because I don't have the experience, right? How can I get any experience if no one will hire me? So we could sit here and make the opposite claim that you as somebody who has experience has an advantage over a younger person in some cases. I think there's always going to be discrimination of some kind. There's always going to be stereotypes and perceptions. We have to live with them and work alongside them. We're probably never going to eradicate them. And we could always come at it from any angle we want and find something that someone's going to discriminate us against us for, right? So let's not get caught up in that conversation. That is not productive. The real issue is this. It isn't your age. It's your relevance. It's not your age, it's your relevance. How can you be more perceived as more relevant to them? They will see your value and pay the price for the salary if they see the connection and the relevance and the alignment. So I want you to focus on not just trying to impress them, but trying to align with them. That is a game changer. If you go into an interview focusing on your age as a disadvantage, that energy may well come through. You might even find yourself slightly on the defense, right? Or even looking for age discrimination when it's not even happening. That happens as well. But if you focus on how your experience makes you the best fit for the job, it is more likely that the employer will notice that. So we can't talk about getting the employer to change their perception until you change yours, okay? And What I mean is, I know you probably feel that you are valuable and marketable and hireable and all of those things. But you also need to be careful that you're not creating barriers where they don't exist and becoming overly fixated on the age thing yourself, right? Because it is what it is. You can't make yourself younger. So you might as well fully own it and embrace it and align yourself with employers who see that value. And if they don't, move along, keep walking. There are other ones out there. All right. You do everything in your power first to make sure that you are modern and relevant and have the right strategy in your search. Then, if we really can't get hired, okay, maybe there's something else going on. But I am telling you, 9 out of 10 times, people come to me thinking that their age is the problem. And yes, it might be a factor, but there are also all these other things. They have a terrible LinkedIn profile. They're only applying on job boards and they're not networking. They're all over the place with their job target. They don't know what they want to industry they want to specialize in or anything. There's all these other things that are going on that are not optimized, but yet we're fixated on the age thing. So, one of my takeaways from this as well is that, okay, yes, you are older. There might be some perceptions that work against you in that way. But is that the only thing wrong with the job search? Are there other things that we could really dive deep into and optimize first before we just throw our hands up and say, well, it's the age thing. It's got to be, right? I have had so many people come to me and swear that is the reason why they can't get hired. And I look at it and they have the crappiest LinkedIn. It's like empty. Okay. All they're doing is applying online. They've got excuses for everything. And I'm not trying to be negative, but what I'm actually trying to do is empower you and say, hey, wait a minute. Let's make sure we've explored everything else and maximized on everything else first before we say you're just too old, right? I think that's fair. I think that's really, really fair. And I think that it's also much more empowering because the disempowering mindset would be, yeah, you're too old. It's going to suck. It's going to be really hard. What are we going to do, right? No, no, no. You actually, it's good news. You actually do have some other things that you can optimize and you do have agency in some other areas. So let's focus on what we can control, right? And optimize everything else. That is the stance basically in a nutshell that I take with clients. So let's get back to this concept really quick of relevance. Okay. How can you be relevant in today's market? What does that even mean? Because a lot of people might be thinking that I'm relevant, right? But maybe your idea of that is different than the employers or different than mine. Who knows, right? But relevance means a couple of things. I'm going to break it down basically into 4 areas. So this is where you want to listen up and take some notes, okay? This is where you have power over how you are perceived. So, number 1, are you truly staying updated on industry trends? This is true for everyone, but especially those who are senior leaders. So, if you're director level and above, you need to be aware of what's going on in your industry as a whole, not just your own self and your job search. Are you reading industry blogs? Are you following relevant thought leaders? Are you attending conferences? Are you doing speaking engagements or at least posting on LinkedIn with original content about what's going on in your industry? This is important. This is the price of entry here to be a senior leader. If someone's listening that is at a different level in their career, maybe they're more of an individual contributor, there are still opportunities. I wouldn't push this quite as hard. You still need to be updated on things like AI and all the different trends in your industry. But I really hone this in for anyone who is in a leadership role and especially an executive. Okay. It's not enough to just be a consumer. I want you commenting thoughtfully on people's posts on LinkedIn. I want you posting your own content and ideas, maybe even short form articles. I want you contributing to the conversation. This will go a long, long way into improving your value and your relevance in the market. If you are just throw up a LinkedIn profile and wait for the phone to ring, that's not showing relevance. That's not showing leadership. That's not showing thought leadership specifically. Are you getting out from behind the computer and meeting people for coffees, for hiring events, for conferences, for professional development? These are huge, huge factors in how you are perceived as modern and relevant and up to date. We are in a whole different ballgame with this job market and how rapidly things are changing. We're just living in weird times, you guys. The world is just changing rapidly in front of us. I think even more so than some other times. So this is a really, really big one. So ask yourself, how can I really stay informed? All right. And demonstrate that. So, number 2, are you embracing technology? If AI and digital transformation are reshaping your industry, make sure you are updated on that. You need to know AI on 2 levels, micro and macro. What I mean is specifically, you need to be using it yourself. You need to know how the tools work. You should be leveraging it in your job search because it can do wonders for your job search. Absolutely. So if you're not doing that, that's an area for you to optimize where you can be falling behind. So you need to know how to use it for yourself, personal applications. That's the micro. The macro is, how is it affecting your industry? Is it shaping policies? Is it shaping the recruiting and hiring process? Is it forcing layoffs? Are there opportunities where it could be automating work, maybe even make your job better or more efficient? You may be asked in the interview about AI. You absolutely could, about what you know about how it's shaping the industry. You might be asked to have input about how the company should be considering, what should they be doing about it. Again, even more so as a senior leader, this is really relevant for you. You cannot fall behind in this. If there's already a perception for 50 plus job seekers that they tend to not be up on technology, and then you don't stay up to date with AI and don't use it yourself, that's just reinforcing it. We're going to have to work a little bit harder here. I use AI almost every single day. I'm using it in my practice all the time. I'm teaching clients how to use it in their job search. It's truly amazing. I've just added new videos to my client library that clients get, all about how to do company research within seconds using AI. If this isn't something that you're doing now, massive opportunity to get more relevant. Massive. 3, you really need to optimize your LinkedIn. And a lot of people don't always know what that means. Your profile needs to reflect a modern, forward thinking professional who has content, who has connections, who has maybe even media and photos. If you aren't strategically leveraging LinkedIn daily, you're likely missing out. Now, LinkedIn does hold various levels of value and relevance depending on the industry that you're in, but with only a few exceptions, it is relevant for most industries. All right. So, this is where you build up your network. This is where you make new friends and connect with people who are relevant and could potentially hire you, or you could at least learn from. Your LinkedIn also, I'm going to blow your mind with this one. This is where the salary negotiation even starts. I know that sounds weird, right? You want to talk about value perception? What happens when let's say I haven't even talked to you yet. I'm just scouring LinkedIn and I come across this profile of this person who I might want to reach out to about a job, but they don't have a customized banner. They don't really have that many connections. They haven't posted anything at all or anything in 6 months. Doesn't look like they use LinkedIn that much. They don't really write much about their skills or anything. It's kind of half-assed, right? I'm less inclined to reach out to that person. I might think, oh, do they really use the platform that much? Or, do they really know how to use it? They're probably not going to reply if I reach out because it doesn't look like they're very active on the platform. These are all real perceptions. Not only that, but for the salary negotiation, you can't tell me that you see different levels of value when you look at different profiles. When somebody has a nice robust, modern profile that's filled out. It's got a great value proposition in there. They've got great branding. They know who they are. They're speaking to their audience. That person is going to command a higher salary instantly. It's about managing that first impression, and you don't get that first impression back. LinkedIn is all about first impressions. So that versus the profile that I just described, that the person kind of half-assed it, right? Am I going to pay that person as much? Am I going to even be as likely to reach out to that person? No, probably not. We often think that our salary and our value, that conversation begins in the interview. Oh, no, no, no. It begins online with your personal brand on LinkedIn. And I even emphasize LinkedIn more than the resume because the resume is often not the first thing that they see. The LinkedIn's visible 24/7. All right. So that's actually probably even more important than the resume because you can show the resume just here and there to people when you apply or email it to them. LinkedIn is a whole different beast. So I'm beating the LinkedIn drum here because this is a big, big part of your relevance and your first impression and whether or not you can command the salary that you want to ask for as a late career professional. This is a huge opportunity. I see so many executives that are valuable and great at what they do. They're phenomenal, but they have a terrible LinkedIn. And that's okay, right? That's not your skill set. That's not your forte. Totally okay. But you need to get help with it, right? You need to have somebody else take a look at it for you. So that's number 3. Number 4 is networking. Your network is your net worth. Relationships land jobs. It's a fact, more than resumes, especially if you want a higher level job, a senior level job. It is very likely that that is going to come from relationships that you have made and ones that you are yet to make. Engage with people in your industry. Join groups. Go to events. Have one-to-one coffee chats to reconnect and re-engage with your network and make new friends. Have meaningful conversations with recruiters and decision makers. If you are unemployed, for example, you should be having networking conversations daily. I would aim for at least 7 to 10 each week. Is that a scary number? If it is, we have some work to do. And again, I say all of this just to lovingly light a fire underneath you and give you a realistic preview of what level of activity it takes to get hired in this market. At least 7 to 10 every week. That's at least 1 or 1.5 conversations every single day. All right? That's right. That is the level of activity that you need. So I understand if you're currently employed, it might be a little bit harder to sustain that. But then again, your search might not be as urgent either. So if you are unemployed, you need to ultimately aim for 2 networking conversations every single day or about 7 to 10 per week. This is where the magic happens. People land jobs even without resumes. It happens all the time. And we never want to limit ourselves to only what is available online. That's a small fraction of what's available. And some of that is not even real. There are some kind of fake postings out there as well. So very, very worthwhile for you to be engaging in conversations every single day. I think it's going to do wonders for your mental health as well, because nothing will drag your mental health down in a job search longer than just being at your computer, firing off cold applications day after day. That's awful. And the ROI is so low. So recapping really quick before we go to a commercial break. 4 areas where you can take action today to improve your relevance and therefore your perceived value to employers, no matter how old you are. Stay up to date on industry trends, Embrace technology and demonstrate that you've embraced it. Optimize your LinkedIn and network actively. All right, let's take a quick commercial break. We do have a few more strategies to cover, and we will be right back in 1 minute. Hey everyone, it's Lorraine again. While the show takes a quick break, I want to tell you a little bit more about what we do at Career Uprising. We've been in business for 10 years now, helping clients who are either executives or in the late career phase. We work with clients in all different industries, from tech to healthcare to education. Are you worried about ageism in your job search? Or maybe you haven't looked for a job in years and you feel outdated and overwhelmed. Or maybe you feel stuck and want to figure out what's next for you in your career. If any of these sound like you, we might be a good fit. My team and I have helped over 500 clients over the last decade to land new jobs faster than they could on their own. We offer world-class coaching, resume writing, and salary negotiation support. First, you can sign up for my mailing list and be a part of my growing community. Head over to careeruprising.com today and learn more and book a call with me. That's careeruprising.com. I can't wait to connect with you. Let's get back to the show. All right, we are back. So let's address this salary concern head on, because that's one of the biggest pieces of the age conversation. It's all about, am I too expensive or overqualified, right? Here's the truth. Companies will pay, but they will pay for impact, not tenure. Impact, not tenure. So it's good that you had years of experience, but we're not going to lead with that. We're not going to start out your resume with 20 years of experience doing this or that. That's fine, but what is the result of those 20 years of experience? That's what I want to know. The key to commanding a strong salary is to frame yourself as a high-value hire from the very onset. And like I said, that does not start in the interview process. It starts with your personal brand and your LinkedIn profile and your resume and just the value of your network and what people are saying about you. There's so many earlier touch points prior to the interview that are so important. So instead of justifying why you're worth a certain salary, I want you to focus on showing them the ROI that they will get when they hire you. What does that mean? Here are a couple of questions that you can ask yourself. Some of these may be more or less relevant to your line of work, but they should stimulate your thinking. And these are the things that should be at the forefront of your resume and your LinkedIn and all of your networking conversations. So things such as, did you increase revenue either directly if you're in sales or indirectly in some other way? Oftentimes the work we do can be traced to increased revenue, even if we're not in sales. Money always talks, right? So that's, of course, that's number one on my list. That's what companies are thinking about is their bottom line. Did you improve efficiency? Did you lead successful projects? Tell me about that. Did you save a customer? Did you land a customer? Did you help the company beat out their competition and increase market share? How did you do that? Did you help them avoid a lawsuit? Maybe if you're in legal or HR, right? Did you turn around a failing business unit? Tell me that story. These are the things that employers want to hear that will cause them to want to hire you and pay the salary that you want. When you present yourself as someone who drives results, the salary becomes a non-issue. They will figure out a way to pay for you. Instead of focusing on cost, focus on the ROI they get from hiring you. And be weaving that into the conversation from the onset. All right? So, wrapping up, here are some practical steps that summarize a little bit to help you overcome this age bias and redirect the conversation to how relevant and how valuable you are. So these are tactical, all right? Number one, your personal brand. You've got to focus on having a strong resume in LinkedIn. Even if you didn't need one in the past, I have heard from so many executives and senior professionals, I never needed a resume. It was never this hard. Well, guess what? Times have changed. What got you there won't get you here to where you want to be now, all right? Focus usually on the last, I'd say, 10 to 15 years of experience. Remove outdated skills, emphasize results. Sometimes you might need to truncate your older experience down at the bottom, but make sure that you are getting a fresh set of eyes and help with your resume and your LinkedIn profile. Those are oftentimes the first touch points. Use modern language and avoid cliches. If I hear results driven one more time, I'm going to scream, right? Boring, nothing stands out about that. Everyone should be in some fashion results driven. Instead, talk about your ability to drive innovation, to lead change, and create impact. Drive innovation, lead change, and create impact. Those are things that are more modern and more compelling. So let go of results driven, even let go of seasoned professional. See, it has a kind of a negative connotation. And again, it's not about your tenure. It's about what you did in that tenure and the results you bring. 3, show adaptability in interviews. Sometimes employers worry that older candidates might be stuck in their ways, they're not up to date. A lot of these things aren't true. I know from working with my clients. Demonstrate curiosity, openness to new ideas, a growth mindset. Show that you can learn new systems, share what you're doing for professional development, all those conferences you're going to, those courses that you're taking, those industry blogs that you're reading to keep up to date. Share all of those things. They're part of your value. Number 4, tell compelling stories. Use storytelling to highlight your experience as an advantage, not a limitation. So we have a specific format that we teach our clients when we do interview coaching, and it's kind of a plug and play. It works great to keep your answer really targeted, really focused. We can work with you on that, but don't just spout out facts, tell stories. Stories are memorable, all right? All of these things, the sum of the parts, will help you to focus on what really, really matters, which is your relevance and the value perception that you are putting out, not just your age, all right? So that is the takeaway from this. Your age is not the problem. It is your relevance and your value that matters, okay? All right. I hope that this helped. I feel like we packed a lot into a short period of time. You can learn more about the work that we do at careeruprising.com. You can find everything you need on the website, all the program options, the Meet the Team page, the archive of this podcast. There's so much there. So I hope this was valuable to you. We will have a rebroadcast next week of the episode that we're putting out next week is a replay of the number one most popular show with the most downloads that I've ever done in all of my 7 years. So do not miss it. You're going to want to hear it again. It's called Your Job Is Not Your Identity with Sunny Karana. It is an incredible, compelling story from a real-life Career Uprising client, and his episode is the most downloaded of all time. It's truly amazing. So be sure to watch out for that. Go to careeruprising.com, and I hope this was helpful to you. I will be back with a new episode in just a few weeks. Hey, it's Lorraine, and I want to say thanks for listening. If you found value in today's show, I would be honored to have your review on Apple Podcasts. It's the single best way to help this show be found by other listeners, and you'll earn some good karma. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you next time on Career Uprising.